Hello, my name is Helena, and we're in conversation today with Dr. Moondust, cancer biologist and biochemist. She's also founder of Moondust Cosmetics and a published author on topics of health and on the environment. Hello, Dr. Moondust.
Hello, Helena.
Good to see you again. I understand you have some exciting news for us from the world of publishing this time.
Yes, I do. I've just published a chapter about COVID-19 and the new coronavirus in a book that just came out.
Would you happen to have a copy of the book that you might show us, the book title?
I do. Right
Great.
here.
So it's Some RNA Viruses. And can you tell us a little bit about the chapter that you contributed? What is it called?
It's called Assembling an Anti-COVID-19 Artillery in the Battle Against the New Coronavirus. And my publisher is Intec Open, and you can find a link to the chapter on their website.
That's wonderful. And we'll also put a link below this video in case people want to grab that. So we've heard so much about the science surrounding the virus for a year now, worldwide. But can you give us a quick overview just to refresh us of the basics, please?
Yeah, so in the chapter, I start with the life cycle of the SARS-CoV-2 virus. And what it does is it finds these ACE2 receptors on human cells, which, by the way, aren't there on all cells of every organ.
Can you tell us which organs?
Yes, ACE2 receptors are found in the lungs, heart, kidneys, small intestine, testes in males, and the blood vessels. Basically, the organs that are most susceptible to this virus.
And then how does the chapter proceed? What's next?
Okay, so the SARS-CoV-2 virus attaches itself to this ACE2 receptor. It docks by the help of something called a spike protein. And once it does that, it enters the cell, basically invades the cell, and hijacks its replication machinery to make lots and lots of little virus particles that it packages and then exports to other vulnerable cells in the body and beyond.
Thank you for that word review. We've all been bombarded from the beginning with the graphics and the animations, so it's good to have a review. Now, you've told me that you've had a personal experience with the coronavirus, which I referred to at the time as the dance of doubt. Can you tell us a little bit about your personal brush with corona?
Yes, it was sort of a brush, you might say. I was in India in January 2020, and a few friends got together, and one of those friends had just returned from a business trip in Wuhan.
And you mean China, the epicenter, Wuhan being the epicenter of all the news coming out when we first heard of coronavirus.
Exactly where the pandemic began. And it's actually quite close because India and China are neighbors.
Mm-hmm. So what happened next in your grouping of friends?
Well, the next morning I woke up with a very bad sore throat. And this developed into a very nasty flu. I had sinus congestion, a cough, some abdominal symptoms, a minor case of diarrhea, and this went on for about 2 weeks. And then after it was all over, I was very weak and dizzy for another 2 weeks, basically still ill.
So this is pretty worrisome because we've been given to understand that coronavirus can take a couple of different forms. One attacks the lungs and the other centered around the gastrointestinal tract.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So this sounds like this is what you were dealing with. Now, did you take any medication?
Yes, well, actually, I only took a herbal medicine with a licorice root base, which is a potent anti-inflammatory during the day. I took aspirin at night, and then I had some electrolyte solution so that I wouldn't become dehydrated from the diarrhea.
Mm-hmm. Now, you said you were with a few friends. Were you the only one who was experiencing these flu-like symptoms?
Well, actually, it's interesting. About a week later, another of the people who had been at the meeting also developed very similar symptoms. And the friend who had traveled to Wuhan never developed any symptoms at all. But at that stage, there was no reason to even think that it was coronavirus because we were just hearing that, about this pneumonia-like symptoms. The gastrointestinal symptoms were unknown at that stage.
Did you think that it might be something else?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it could have been any of the seasonal flus that are endemic in India, like the H1N1 swine flu or another seasonal Asian flu.
Mm-hmm. So what happened next?
Well, even after the month of illness, I was feeling apathetic and weak for months afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I had a relapse of the gastrointestinal symptoms in March when I was back in Canada, a course of azithromycin helped cure that. And then my suspicions were really aroused and I started to wonder if I had coronavirus.
Oh yes, azithromycin, that was being hailed at that time as a cure for coronavirus. Because at one point we were so in the dark that all kinds of theories were coming up and drugs were being offered as potential cures or mitigators at least. So I wonder what happened finally and what gave you the final diagnosis in this case from your perspective as a scientist and someone who might be harboring corona.
Well, finally, in August and September, I had a series of tests. And starting with the COVID-19 nasal swab, which is very uncomfortable and painful, by the way, that was negative. Then I had a SARS-CoV-2 antibody test, which was also negative, and that involves drawing blood. It's a blood test. And finally, my C-reactive protein levels were also low or normal. And so then, after the series of tests, I was finally convinced that it had not been coronavirus. And so that was that. And incidentally, C-reactive protein is an inflammatory marker. And its levels are elevated when you have coronavirus. So if I had had coronavirus, and even if my antibodies had declined, it's quite likely that at that point, my C-reactive protein levels would still have been high.
Well, that was a very worrisome time, but somehow resolved itself. And here you are able to review your experience. And thank you so much for joining us for this segment. We're going to continue on in our next segment when we next meet, and you'll be sharing with us the top risk factors. So that will be in our next segment. We hope you all join us. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. Be well, be safe.